I can tell when you do it.
All right. Well, it is a couple minutes after 1, so we're going to go ahead and get started here today with this webinar. It's time. We gave it the time slot of 1 to 2:30. I don't see it taking that long at all. There are quite a few times where we'll maybe ask a couple of questions throughout the webinar, and so we're looking for feedback or any questions. So unless we have a lot of that, I don't see it at all taking an hour and a half. The screen, what you should be seeing right now is just the first page that just says the Master Grid and ECCO overview and user support webinar and the date. If you see something else, let us know. That's all you should be seeing. That's just the opening slide for this. The volume should be good. I have Alex with me. So if you do have any questions at any time, Alex is monitoring our attendees over here, and you can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself and cut in, or you can use the chat and question box to where you can ask us questions through there if you need to. When I ask questions, I guess, throughout this webinar, it may be best just to unmute yourself if you have a suggestion or an answer. It would maybe just speed up it a little bit so we're not waiting for people to type out questions. If you're not in a location where you can do that and you need to type, that's fine as well. So just make sure that you use neither one of those. This is the second of 3 Master Grid and ECCO support webinars this fiscal year. We're going to record this event. We edit it. We're going to be posting this one online like we do the others. And also remember, I haven't told you yet, but after the webinar, probably an hour or so later, you'll be receiving a survey. Alex, I guess, will be sending that out to you guys. Please complete the survey. Help us out so we can kind of improve the service that we're offering here as far as this webinar and what it's going. Today's is a little bit different than some webinars. I'm going to be giving out some information to you guys about ECCO and a little bit about the Master Grid, but it's a little different in the way that it's kind of about you guys. It's about the prevention professional as a whole in the field and how we can help support your use and how you use ECCO. So please remember that after today, still, if you would like to, we're going to have 4 remaining, some of you have already registered for these, 4 remaining in-person ECCO focus groups and user support sessions throughout the state. The dates and times are on our TA training calendar. So if you go to our webpage, the ENCPreventionTTA.org, and go to our calendar, you can see each one of those, and you can click on it, and it takes you to the Eventbrite to where you can, or to the page where you can register. Just so you know, the ones we have upcoming are in Fayetteville, February the 19th at 10 o'clock. The next one is Asheville on February 21st at 11 o'clock. The next one's Winston-Salem on February 25th at 10 o'clock. And then we also have another one at Rocky Mount on March the 7th at 10 o'clock. These are not done, these are just done by region. They're not done through LMEs. So we try to pick some throughout the state to where you could get one closer to you. If you can't come to the one that's closest to you, feel free to come to one of the other ones. About 2 weeks ago, we had a very good conversation in Hickory with some people from that area. We discussed the ECCO users and possible methods of improvement, how we could improve ECCO, and that's kind of what we may ask a little bit today as well. And throughout those, they're kind of informal. They last about 2 to 3 hours, generally around 2 hours is our goal, unless there just happens to be a lot of information. The one in Hickory was scheduled for 2 hours, and they still had some things they wanted to discuss, so we stayed with them a little bit longer, but it's not going to last any more than 3 hours at the most if you do come to one of those. So we really want to hear from you guys if you're able to come to one of those. So if you have any concerns or suggestions or questions about ECCO beforehand, just make sure you bring those with you, which is going to take us to the start of this webinar. We are trying to. There we go. All right, our agenda for today is pretty simple. We're going to have a review of the NCTTA help desk. We generally try to talk about the help desk a little bit each time when we do a training, in case there's anybody new who is not used to it or hasn't used the feature of the help desk. So we're going to be looking a little bit at the help desk, pointing out some new, not so new material to some of you. We'll be looking a little bit at the master grid, not for a long time. We've talked about that a lot over the last year and a half, I think. We're going to be looking at our ECCO manual briefly, and a brand new population-based strategy reach manual. It's not going to be a lot of time with each one of those, but we'll be looking briefly at each one of those. We're also going to look at 3 recent changes that we've made to ECCO. The first change is going to be the one that we'll look at later in part B. Our goal and what we hope is that this is going to be a feature that everyone will be happy with. And we'll be talking about that later. It's something that can make it a little bit more user-friendly for us. We're going to be looking at the briefcase again. There are some better ways to search files in the briefcase now. This is an addition to ECCO that's only 3 weeks old, so unless you've been in the briefcase for within the last 3 weeks, you may have seen it if you've been in there. If not, this will be something that would be totally new to you. And then finally, we're going to be looking at there are pending ECCO reporting features that are still in development, but should be useful for all the users. After that, we're just going to have a quick needs, issues, suggestions from you guys if you have anything. So if you have some questions you want to hold to the end, that's fine. If you want to ask them throughout, whichever. So you'll have a chance at the end also to ask some questions or suggest anything that you would maybe like to see throughout our help desk or some with ECCO as we go through it. Also, if you need any individual ECCO training, we offer that. NCTTA can help you. Typically, that's usually going to be Jamie or Alex. Alex is quickly becoming our ECCO guru, whether she wanted to or not. She's getting a good grasp on ECCO, and so a lot of the issues that are not too complex, she kind of takes care of those. Not that she couldn't take care of more difficult ones, but sometimes we just get her and Jamie both on. And also, if we're in the area, in your area at all, and you need some training, sometimes face-to-face is available, and we can make that happen as well. And then once again, we'll end up with just a little question and answer period there at the end of the webinar. So as we get started here, the first thing we want to do is we want to remind people about how to use just the help desk. If you haven't been to our webpage before, it is ncpreventiontta.org. This is what it looks like. You see the orange arrow that's pointing to help desk. I'm going to go ahead and mention real quick, if you haven't been to our website, where it says training center down there in the middle with the block, that's where you would click on to go to where you can get to our calendar to register for those ECCO events or any other trainings and webinars that we have coming up. So with that being said, you see the orange arrow, and if you click on the help desk button, this next screen is what will show up. You're not going to have the orange arrows, obviously, but the next screen is what's going to show up. It's our help desk page where you're going to have 5 different boxes right now. I guess more could be added if we have suggestions and we need to. But the ones we're going to look at today, basically, are the master grid box, the ECCO, and this search feature. Within the help desk, there's different ways you can find some materials that you may be interested in looking for. The first one is the search bar. It kind of works like Google. It's a nice feature that we have. You can just try searching for your topic, and the help desk within that search bar will search for the materials that have been uploaded in our help desk system. So we're taking a look at that today. Items loaded into ECCO and master grid resource sections. Have any of y'all used this help desk before? Just curious. Maybe so, maybe not. And if you have used it, have you thought of any ways maybe that we could make it easier to use? Is there something you can think of that we need to change? We're constantly trying to change our help desk area, at least, and ECCO to make it more user-friendly, just make it easier on you guys and support you all in any way that we can. Is there any other type of information anyway that you would like to see posted when you do come to the help desk? And if not, that's fine. Remember, you can always contact us later if you need to at our email addresses individually, or you can just email us at nctta@ncpreventiontta.org, and you can give us any suggestions or ask any questions in there as well. So be thinking about that if you do have any suggestions. And as far as this goes, if you saw on that last page, the help desk, where we had 3 different arrows, one of them was pointing to the Master Grid Resources box. If you click on the Master Grid Resources box, this is what comes up. And it's got a few different things there, but the main one we want to look at today is we're going to be looking for a few minutes at the Master Grid. And the Master Grid, this is the version from 2018, so it's really the latest updated version of the Master Grid that we have, that we've been looking at, that has been changed here and there since its first introduction to us. But you can go there. It is downloadable. You can download it from this site, or you can look at an online version of it. Went too far. All right, that was my fault. So when you click on it, though, the Master Grid, and you download it, this is what's going to come up. Online, we have a colored version. Every now and then when we come to our trainings, we might have color versions of the help desk. It's just a lot of ink and a lot of printing, and they're big pieces of paper. So we usually come with black and white, but the color versions are on our website. The master file, the Excel file contains the different sheets right here. The first tab, if you click on your Master Grid at the bottom, the first tab that you're going to see is a sheet that is for approved interventions. You can't see it on this slide, but it would be at the bottom of the screen for Excel. The second tab would be interventions that are conditionally allowed. These are programs that have been, they're documented evidence. People have been using them in the past. They were approved before 2017. And those will be in a separate tab from this one right here. So for today, we're just going to stay looking briefly at the approved. And like I said, we're not going to spend much time on this, but make sure you know the difference, or see the difference between the 2 tabs, between the approved and conditionally allowed. Also, this grid, it includes a variety of important information types. But for today's webinar, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on counting people served. We're going to look at, you see the circles, the red circles, counting people served, example of critical documents, and we're going to look a little bit at the notes column there. For example, the Master Grid tells us we need to use the population-based strategy tool, and that's on. We'll try to point that out to you whenever we get to that point. And as far as the Master Grid, some reminders about the Master Grid. Again, there are 2 tabs: allowable and conditionally allowed. And if you were looking at the Master Grid back at the last page that we just had, note that one column was circled counting people served. That column provides information about how to count participants, when to use the population, and other information such as when to use population-based strategy reach tool. If you're looking through the Master Grid, during that column, there will be places where the grid tells you to use that strategy reach tool. So make sure you're paying attention to what it says. The example critical documents column, it will include some materials that should be uploaded to document intervention implementation. It's not an inclusive list, but it's a good baseline, as it says. And then the notes column, which is the one that is on the far right, it's important. Make sure to review this column for each of your interventions. In the notes column, for the one that's not allowable, the one that's conditionally allowed, it's over there. That column tells you, that's where it tells you that it was something that was approved for you to do prior to 2017. And so some of you are still allowed to do those things. I have a question for you though. Can you think of a way that we can better inform you guys or remind users of these grid information sets. We have some things on our site and our help desk that may help out, but if you haven't been on there, you can check that out. Does anybody have any suggestions or questions about how the grid, anything that we could do to maybe make that easier for you guys to read, to understand, to use? Our goal is to try to support you guys in the best way that we can and to make it easier and more user-friendly for you as you're going through all of this. All right. Well, that's all we wanted to say really about the master grid. We just wanted to remind you of those three, those few tabs right there, the counting people served, the column of the example critical documents, and the notes column, which is going to then bring us to something that you guys will be more interested in maybe right now. ECCO related manual resources. We're going to move to the ECCO manual. The ECCO manual we introduced to you guys last summer, I guess it was, when we were at our regional meetings. And the ECCO manual can be viewed online. It can be downloaded from the ECCO section of the help desk. And if you remember when we were back at the help desk, you click on help desk, it took you to the page with the boxes at the bottom. If you click on the ECCO box, this is the box, the screen that would come up. And the ones that we're going to focus on kind of today are the ECCO manual download, population-based strategy reach tool and online manual and download, and then online ECCO manual. In this section, there's a new population-based strategy reach tool manual. And we're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. But what you would do if you wanted to say download the ECCO manual is you would click on the ECCO manual and it would take you to that page. Online manual versus printed manual. This ECCO manual that we have, it's in its second major version. So we call it version 2.3. It was published in October of this past year. And you can always tell the printed version is updated when you have a printed version or you copy it. You can tell if it's updated if you've printed the last one, because every version that we change, it'll have a different cover photo. And on the back of the title page is going to be a version that has a tracking listing. So you can tell if it's an updated manual just by if you have one printed already at your office by comparing the cover page. Then you can also download it to print easily to do. So the online one, the online manual is updated to, it's always, the online manual is always updated to the latest version. The one that you can print sometimes that you download, it may get its updates a little later. The online one, as soon as we get something and get it ready to go, it goes online so that you can see it. And if you want to go to the online help desk, on the last screen, I think it was when there was, let's see if we can go back to it. It's hard to do. Right here, the last screen, if you go to the bottom arrow where it says online ECCO manual and you click on ECCO online help desk, this is the screen that would come up for you. The one on the left of this page is what would come up where it says ECCO online help desk. All of this right here is the newest ECCO updates. It's the online manual broken down into sections so you don't have to scroll through it. And the pro of the online version is it's a searchable manual as well, so you can find what you need to easier. It's got a search feature. The online manual has video clips of different activities that can help you through specific steps while you're in ECCO. And we expect to have another version of this ECCO manual published hopefully in late March. So in the next couple of months, be looking for another version of this ECCO manual that'll be updated. As you know, when we're going through ECCO, as we have been for the last year and a half or so, it's constantly changing. We're trying to improve it, trying to get it to the point of where it does what the goals originally set for it to do. So be on the lookout in the next couple of months for a newer version with any updates that have been going on in ECCO. And the version that will include, that will be coming up in March, is actually going to include recent ECCO system updates. It's going to have some more screenshots and details about using different report features as you go along. Have any of you had a chance really, or have you used ECCO manual? Have you needed to use it at any point in time? And has it helped if you have?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody's used it out there. If you click right here on the screen, it only shows 1, 2, 3, 6 different sections. There are actually 22. That one has 6 articles. There are actually 22 articles, and really sections to the ECCO manual. And so if you go to the actual webpage, you can view all 22 of them. And it just helps you. If you're not wanting to read through a whole manual, you can easily get on there to the online version and find any help from, as it says, setting up a new account, how to use Briefcase, create intervention profiles, just basically how to use ECCO. We've tried to take each section of ECCO and add an article about how it's used in the best way that we can use it. If you have used it, do you have any other suggestions, any advice about what we could change or make it easier for you guys? 'Cause we will be updating this soon.
Or as the manual, the one that you have now, I used it and I really didn't know anything about the ecosystem or anything. And what I did was I actually went page by page.
Uh-huh.
And I had my laptop up and I just started, and that's how I learned how to put information into the system. And so I think it's very good, and it just took me through the whole thing. But I had to go page by page. But I know how to use it now.
Yeah, well, good. That's what we wanted to hear. Something like that, at least for people who are newer to it, and even people who have been using it for a while. There are some things that, like I said, will be added to it, will be updated here in the next couple of months. A lot of the TA requests that we get here at the office deal with ECHO, and so some of those questions can be answered through our online manual if people go on there and look. A lot of people just don't, I guess they don't think to go on there and look at it really. It's not the first option. The first option is usually to call us or email us, which is okay, because we'll usually call you back or set up a time where we can discuss with you and go through it. But if there are some options or any suggestions that you have for us, that's would be great to hear. I'm glad that it has at least helped some of you out in a way as far as going from a novice and brand new to you to at least being able to get on there and fill in the information you need to and get going. And so if we can get to the point of where we could have a nice manual online with videos or instructions how to use each section, it would maybe be able to cut down some of the time we are on the phone with ECHO and maybe be able to put more into trainings or some face-to-face meetings if needed, or help you out in other ways within your community. Any other suggestions or questions about the ECHO manual? Okay, good. So another thing we wanted to talk about with this ecosystem that is new is a population strategy reach tool manual. Under the same ECHO section of this help desk that we've been talking about, this is all in the help desk, if you remember. Under this same section of the help desk is a new manual, and it really supports the population strategy reach tool that was published during the summer months. So you see on this page that there's the counting reach. It's got a population-based strategy reach tool manual with a star beside of it. The blue stars beside of it is usually something where, hey, we want you to see this. It's something to take note of. It's something that is probably important. It could be important because it's new, or it could just be important because it's something that has been changed a little bit here or there and tweaked. So when you see a blue star, if you haven't checked that out, you may want to look at that when you see a blue star next to something in the help desk. So the population-based strategy reach tool manual is something that we're going to be looking at here just briefly for a couple of minutes. Here's the cover of the downloadable PDF file, because you can download this one just like you can the ECHO manual. You can download it to your computer. You can print it as well. And this is the cover to it. So if you see this, it's the cover. You can search the online version of this document the same way you can the ECCO manual. And we encourage all of you to take a look at the manual. Let us know if it helps to take a look at this. Let us know if it helps with the use of the population-based strategy reach tool. Sometimes that's hard to say. The manual is brand new. So it's something that not many people have seen. A lot of people don't even know it exists. So we would really like people to take a look at it. If not right now, obviously, some other time after we get done, finish this webinar, if you get a couple of hours or an hour or so during one day to just take a look at it, we would like that. If you could, just let us know what your thoughts are on it. Give us some feedback, any points of suggestion as we go through this and continue to build this help desk more. In future versions, we hope to add more detail, maybe some videos as we go through this. But if you look at the slide that we have right here, it includes definitions. It's going to include some counting rules, and that could be just how to report actual numbers versus estimates. Or it could also be how often to count. Do you count an individual? So each section will go into details where there's definitions, counting rules, impacted populations, reach tool instructions, counting standards, or using the tools. This is added to Excel file. Have any of you seen this before? Have you been on the site and clicked on it and checked it out?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I would. Most people, like I said, don't even know it exists. But it is there. So
Exactly. I thought
go ahead.
I thought when you go, I'm new to the ecosystem and the manual, and so basically, I think when I thought that if you clicked on help desk, you just put in a request, can you call me or help me do this? I didn't know all this information and these tools were there within the help desk, and I thought I clicked on it last year, but I don't know if I saw this stuff. So
Well,
I
some of this, yeah. And some of this stuff, this is new. This has not been, this is brand new. So a lot of people don't even know this one exists.
okay.
And they wouldn't know unless they were here or if they come to one of the ECCO face-to-face meetings that we're having, the next 4 that we're having in February and one in March. And I'll give you those. I'll remind you of those at the end as well in case you didn't get a chance to write the dates down. But they're also on our page. But yeah, some of this stuff has just been added and it's been changed. So yeah, a lot of people, that's one of the reasons we want to do this webinar to people, is so they can understand that when they click on the help desk, it's not just a help desk where you can go in there and say, yes, I need some help, give me a call. Some of it you can figure out on your own without having to call us if you don't want to. So so there is that information out there. It's nice to know that you've been on there. But we will be, like I said, updating some of this, adding a few new things as we go along. So kind of an exciting time. Anybody else out there, have you used any of this stuff or do you have any thoughts on it? Okay. One of the things we do notice too with some of the users is that they will struggle sometimes with using Excel. Excel is a little different, a lot different, I guess, than using Microsoft Word. And a lot of people grew up, especially my age, using Microsoft Word and that type of things on the internet. So Excel is difficult for some people. So what we're going to do with the TTA soon is we are actually right now in the process of building an introductory online training on how to use Excel. So if you're somebody who does struggle with Excel, you're new to it, or don't know much about it at all, you haven't even opened it, this training we're going to do, the web online training, is going to be a self-paced Excel basics course. Basically a how-to process for new people who are not really familiar at all with Excel, with the hopes of after that we'll be able to build some more advanced trainings on down the road for people who do use Excel but just know the basics and would like to know how to do some other things within that system as well that can help with you all and making with your ECCO reports or anything like that. So stay tuned for those possibilities. We're going to be having a training on some Excel basics pretty soon. And any other final odds and ends about this section of the webinar when it comes to the help desk, ECCO manual, or the Reach Tool manual? Any suggestions or feedback or questions? All right, so that's going to take us then to the next part, new additions to ECCO. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but as you know, since ECCO has been around for the last year and a half, we're constantly adding new things, we're constantly updating and changing things, and a lot of that happens because of the feedback or the questions that we get from you all out in the field. That is beneficial for us. We really need that as much as you can give us feedback and ask your questions. We appreciate that because it helps us to be able to contact the developers to see what we can do and how we can make it easier for you all out there. The thing I guess to remember about ECCO is that it's had a lot of hands involved with it. So it's had a lot of changing going on. It started off with being Melinda and Terry Moy basically doing most of it, and then it was Melinda and Jamie and Jessica, and now it's we're pretty much with those three, I think, for the most part, and Alex doing a lot of this stuff with ECCO. So if you have any suggestions, make sure you pass those on to us before or whenever you get a chance or any question. But we're going to move on to some new ECCO additions, some changes right now. ECCO use continues to increase each month. Each month we're getting new people who are asking for to add an account, whether it's an LME or providers. So it's continuing to increase the use. And so we want to thank you guys out there for your hard work, your efforts that you put into it. I know it's not easy sometimes, especially when you're trying to hit a moving target. And sometimes that's what ECCO is for us. It's constantly moving and evolving. So continue to have patience with this as we grow and develop it. And hopefully we can get it real soon to where we want it to be. But Part B, I mentioned this earlier. Let's jump right into the changes. We're looking at the Part B right now, this feature. Everyone remembers, hopefully if you guys have been using it, that we use parts A, B, C, and E. A reminder, there is no Part D. It's currently closed to the users. That was a decision that was made, I believe, last year at some time. So you're not missing Part D if you didn't know that. So you're not missing it. It's hidden for all users. Part B, this is where we made some changes to help with data entry, and we're hoping that this is something that is going to be beneficial and make things a little easier for everybody. And if you're looking at this screen, if you have it up, if you're not on just the phone, but if you have your screen up on the computer, and if you note item number 3 over there, item number 3 is now a drop-down box that lists each intervention on the master grid. It's in alphabetical order, and I wonder if has anybody out there seen this yet? The newest version of this, the update. I'd kind of be surprised because a lot of people have not really been looking at Part D. It's not a section that you visit frequently unless you've started a new intervention or you're replicating something, which normally happens at the very beginning of the new fiscal year. So you don't spend as much time in Part B once your fiscal year's been going on for a while. So, but something pretty neat happens now when you come to Part B, and you'll notice this next year, especially, I guess, whenever if you're adding any new interventions. When you click on and select your intervention name there at number 3, item number 4 where it says intervention type, item number 5, the green arrows where it says IOM category, and item number 6 where it says service type. They pre-populate now based on what you selected with number 3. So if you picked SINAR, as it says right there, it's going to go ahead and pre-populate that. It's an environmental strategy. It's going to go ahead and pre-populate your IOM category of universal indirect and your service type. So that's kind of user-friendly in a way that it's going to cut down on extra clicks that you would have to make for each intervention as you go along. Maybe not as much going back and forth to make sure Part B questions match the information on the master grid anyway, because typically what a lot of people were doing is they would put their intervention name in, number 3, they would have to type it in, and then they would have to go back to the master grid and figure out which intervention type is it, which category does it fit under, and their service type. Now it's pre-populating to where you don't have to do that. There is an issue with this, though, that we need to explain to you, that we are in the process of trying to get fixed, and we're not there yet. So while this is, our goal is to make this much more user-friendly and easier for you, there's one small item. If you look at the IOM category, number 5 right there, it says universal indirect. Currently, item number 5 is not pulling into all IOM category options if more than one exists for that selection. And what I'm basically saying is this: if you pick an intervention that could be universal indirect, it could be selective, it could be indicated, or it could be one intervention. Some of those prevention education especially could be any of 3. It could be universal direct, it could be selected, it could be indicated. It's not letting us select which one would work best for you or what you're using it for. That's something that we're going to have to try to work on and fix. So we know that that's an issue. So if you are doing Part B and that's not fixed, just know that we haven't forgotten about it. It's just not been fixed yet. So while this is something that can make everybody a little bit happier with ECCO because it does speed up a little bit of the process, it's also something that we know is still a work in progress. Also with Part B, item number 7 down there, it's a little orange arrow where it's talking about your settings, your locations for your intervention delivery, where you're going to have it. If you want to add a location and you have more than one location, down at the bottom right of that screen, you'll see the blue box that says add locations. You'll just click on add location and you can add more than one physical site now. So a few different changes there to Part B that we hope is going to help out a lot, maybe speed up a little bit of the process when you are start a new intervention and have to enter it into ECCO, things like that. So those are some new things in Part B. Any questions there about Part B and how it looks right now, or any suggestions? All right, well then let's move on to the next one, which is the briefcase. And we usually, almost every time we're talking about ECCO with people, we end up talking about the briefcase, it seems. The briefcase currently can hold up to 75 different files. I believe when we started, it had the capability of 3 files, I believe it was. So big upgrade there. It's nice. A couple of things to remember. If your program reaches the 75 file limit, you've gotten 70 files downloaded, please do not start deleting old files. If you do, I think we lose those files. So let's not delete them. If you get to that point, or you know you're getting close to the 75 file limit, contact us at the NCTTA Center as soon as you can, so that we can figure out what options we're going to be able to have for you. So remember that 75 files, it's much better, but if you are getting close, contact us and let us know that you are, so we can figure out what you're going to need to do for your next steps with that. A couple things I want you to note. Briefcase looks a little bit different now. There's a way now to sort by upload order. And that's, if you look at the screen, all the arrows up there, the top left when it says sort by upload order. So if you click right there, you can start searching for this stuff. There's also right beside of that a search by name. So with the search by name feature, you can start typing it in and searching for it. And this helps a lot if you've got, if you have 2 files like on the screen, you don't need this. But if you have 50 files, 45 files, or whatever in your briefcase, it'll make it much easier for being able to find the file. Also, there is a sort on the far right there on that top line by most recent. you can sort it by your most recent and last recent by file updated. So if you're looking for something you know that you don't want to, you can't remember the exact name of it, how you typed it in there, you can go by the most recent, and if it was, and it'll be easier to find that way if you know when you at least downloaded it into the briefcase. Also, another thing that has changed about the briefcase, actual file names are now visible. Down there where you see the 1 and the 2, it actually has the file name listed, where if you give it a name, that's what's going to show up. It's should be more user friendly and easier to find your files, as opposed to having the small boxes that at one time were just labeled item 1, item 2, item 3. And so it'll be much easier if you need to find your files right now than it once was for people. Quick question, how does that look to everyone? Does that look like it may be going to be easier or helpful when you get in the briefcase? And a lot of people haven't seen this yet. They don't know that these updates have happened. But the ones who have kind of responded positively to us as far as the new design. And if you think of any other changes, anything that you would like to see, that you would like for us to look into with the developers, just contact us and let us know, and we'll check on seeing if we can get it done in a timely manner. Remember to look for that. Also, ECCO reports under development. This is our third final ECCO item for today, is the ECCO reports. We need to be clear that most users, they can see the ECCO reports tab under the intervention planning dashboard. It tells you that at the bottom of your screen, and click on the filter and downloads bar. That being said, and this is important right now, the reports are still kind of under development. They may not be calculating data correctly, with an emphasis on the not there. So there seems to be an issue with that we're also working on. There are 6 reports that, as soon as they're tested and finalized, should kind of prove helpful to all the users, including the programs, LME staff, and state office. So those should be coming out hopefully soon. As soon as the reports are official, we'll let everybody know. So hopefully that'll be soon. And plus, we're also going to be building a detailed user documentation for each report to help with running them and downloading them. This reporting feature that we have and that we're working on, it's been a long time in the development stage. And so we're kind of excited to see some of this stuff starting to roll out. We know that there are a couple of issues, and there'll probably be some down the road, but it's nice to see some of this starting to roll out. We've been talking for a while about hopefully being able to use ECCO in some way when it comes to reporting and helping with that. Have any of you seen these before? Probably not. All right. Well, one thing to remember, these reports that you have, they can currently be downloaded in Excel. It's a CSV file format, and that's why we also are wanting to provide some additional Excel training for people to help some of the people who are newer with Excel and not use it that much, help those people to be able to interpret and use the data downloads the best way that they can. So if you have any more questions or any concerns about the reports in the future, be sure to contact us and let us know. And as I said earlier, this was not going to be a 1 hour and a half webinar. But if you've been thinking about anything, if you've had any questions in your mind or any suggestions and you just haven't spoken up yet or typed it out, are there any needs? Are there any issues or problems that you guys have noticed? Something we need to address, something we need to discuss with the developers or work on ourselves here at the TTA Center? You have this chance to be able to ask, and if not, once again, you can email us or give us a call, and we'll get back to you. Usually, typically with TTA, if we have not responded within 24 hours, we usually try to respond that day, but if we have not responded to you within 24 hours, send a message because something's happened, either it went to junk mail or we missed something somehow, or that person is out and forgot to put an away message on. So if we don't respond within 24 hours, make sure you reach out to us again. But are there any issues, any needs, any questions? I had a professor in college who used to always end his classes with any questions, comments, or snide remarks. And we would like to not have any snide remarks, but if you have some, that's fine as well. Send them to email if you want. Well, thank you for attending. A couple of reminders I want to give you. The dates again for the locations for the ECCO focus and support groups. Fayetteville is February the 19th at 10 o'clock. Asheville will be February 21st at 11 o'clock. Winston-Salem is February 25th at 10 o'clock. Rocky Mount is March the 7th at 10 o'clock, and these generally last 2 to 2.5 hours, at the most 3, just if there's a lot of information or questions or suggestions that you guys would have. You can go to our training calendar on our website, click on that, and you can go to whichever one's closest to you and register. If there's another one, if you can't go to that one and there's another one that you can go to that's pretty close, feel free to register for that one. It's not done by LME. We just tried to spread them out across the state to help people with travel as much as possible. So attend one of these if you can. The next webinar, like this one, will be April the 18th. And hopefully, we already know we're going to have a few things updated because we said there should be some stuff coming in March that'll be updated. So hopefully we'll spend a significant amount of time discussing, providing training on the ECCO reporting features during that time. That's our goal for April the 18th right now, unless we get a lot of suggestions or questions from other people about things we need to be working on. Thank you all for attending. Remember to expect a survey within the next hour, and if you can, fill that out and get that done for us. If there are no other questions at this time, you are free to go. We'll be on here for a couple more minutes if anybody does. So.